Hello guys and welcome to episode 25 of the How to Make an RPG in Unity tutorial series. Now, I know guys that I did say that I was going to be posting more episodes frequently. However, I just was not able to do that because finals are coming up. But however, winter break is also coming up. So once that comes, I'll be able to roll out episodes a lot quicker. Now I recorded this episode. I did promise someone in the comments that I would make a new episode, today, or not today, but last weekend. But I did, or I tried to, but I realized that the audio got corrupted. So now today I am here, re-recording this episode. But anyways, guys, today we're just gonna be working on a saving system. So let's just roll right into it. Now this isn't gonna be that long of an episode. We're just gonna be basically kind of just starting it. We're gonna create like a dynamic saving system so you can save any variables that you want for your own purposes, because like I don't know what your games might have, but like you guys might have like I don't know a more sophisticated stat system, or like an entirely different ability system that needs like to save like integers or whatever. So this is what we're doing today. Now let's actually define how our save system will work. But first, let's just do it while we code. So we can just say create a new script and we can call it save system. And yeah, so let's just get into it. We're just gonna double tap on that, open up Visual Studios. And by the way guys, we're doing a face reveal, or I'm doing a face reveal. You guys have to reveal your faces, but I'm gonna do a face reveal at 1,000 subscribers. So you guys want to see that, make sure to share this channel with all of your friends. Make sure you subscribe. Means a lot to me. But anyways, what we're going to be doing is basically we're going to be using player prefs. Now if you don't know what player prefs are, I think Brackeys has a tutorial on player prefs, and if he doesn't, Speed Tutor might have one. I recommend you guys go check out their tutorials. If I do find them, I'll link them in the video description for you guys to check out. Well, player prefs are basically like kind of like built-in like ways for you to like save data, very basic data like integers, floats, and strings in Unity. Now you can also save to like JSON, but we're not going to do that because it's quite complicated, because we're pretty much doing a beginner project. If you guys want me to switch the save system in the future, I can obviously do that, but today we're just going to work with player prefs. So save system. So we're going to be creating two functions. So one's going to be called save variable, public void save variable, and then public void load variable. And I'm going to be doing it this way so that it's dynamic for your game, and so you can customize it any way you want. And what we're going to have here for the save variable is we're just going to have a string, which will be the name of the variable. And then we're going to have, and you're going to want to repeat this. Well, actually, let's just do the save variable for now. So, yeah, so we're going to need a name. We're going to need an integer type. Now, over here, we're going to create an enum. Now, if you don't know what an enum is, I'll link a description or a video in the description. I'm pretty sure Brackeys is a beginner like coding tutorial that he released before he left YouTube, that explains what enumerators are. So we're just gonna call this enum variable type, and it's gonna consist of integers. Or we're just gonna say integers. I don't know what else is there gonna be, strings, and floats, and inventory. Yeah, so we're just gonna have variable type, and by the way, like if you guys don't know how to work function parameters, then basically you need, for every parameter that you want to input into the function, you're gonna have the variable name, and then the variable name that you're going to be using to reference inside of the function. But yeah, anyways, variable type. What else would we need? I guess that's pretty much it. So actually, oh yeah, and value. So string value. Okay, so you might be wondering, actually, you know what we could do? We can create two different or three different variable types. Actually, no. We'll just have string value, and we'll just like parse the value into an integer or a float whenever needed. So what we have here is we have three variables, and how it's gonna work is, like, say we close a game and we want to save something, then what we're going to be able to do is we're just going to be able to call on the save variable function, and then we're going to be able to create like a save path. So like a save path, which will be the name. We'll declare the variable type, and then we'll give it a value, assign it a value. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say switch. So we're going to have a switch statement here. You can double tab to make it quick, and we're just going to make it type. So we're going to switch between the different possible values of type, and that's integer, strings, floats, inventory, or the default. And we're just going to delete default because we're not going to need that. For integer, in the case that our variable type is an integer, we're going to do something pretty simple, and that is we're going to parse the string. And basically how we're going to do that is we're just going to type int.parse, and we're going to parse the value that we have in the string. And this will basically convert it into an integer. And what we can say here is we can just say, yeah, so var temp value. So we're going to create a temporary instance of this, of our value that we're going to be using to store data for. And we can just say player prefs, or sorry, pretty sure it's player prefs dot add, or sorry, player prefs dot set float. That's, sorry, set int. Yeah, I haven't used player prefs in a long time. So we can say player prefs dot set int, and then we're just gonna the first parameter for this function will be the name of our save path, which will be our name, and then it will be our temp value, which is going to be the value that we want. And then for strings, it's pretty simple because our value is already in a string. I'm gonna say player prefs dot set int name temp value. Or not temp value, sorry, just value, because we don't have to convert it to a temporary value at all because it's already a string. Whoops, why can I not delete this? Value, okay. Oh, sorry, not set it, set string, my bad. And then for float, we're gonna do float dot parse value, and we're going to create a temporary value, and then oh, sorry, it's already okay. Well, we can just call another variable name. We can just like temporary value, and then we can just come down here and we just say player prefs dot set float name value temp value. Oh, nope, sorry, not temp value, temporary value. Okay, now for inventory, however, we're going to do that in another episode because that is going to be very hard to do. Because obviously our inventory, we can't really just save it because of the fact that the variable types are custom objects. They're not strings, they're not floats, they're not integers, right? So yeah, so they're custom objects, so we're gonna create like a complete different system for saving inventory that we'll do in the next episode. And now we're just gonna load up our variables. And actually, yeah, so we're just gonna load variables. Yeah, how are we going to do this? Because we're gonna have to call to the path, and we're gonna have to set a certain number, right, as So we could have like a public string load variable, and then return. Yeah. Okay. Sure. We could have like a public string, public floats load f. We can just make it like load variable s, load variable f. Whoops. Load variable s, load variable f, and load variable int load variable I, and then string name. Okay, and then what we can say here is we can just say player prefs dot get string in this case, and it's just gonna be name, and we're gonna return. So we're just gonna say like var s is going to be equal to our data that we are going to pull from our player pref, and we're just going to return it. And over here we can just say var f is equal to player prefs dot get float the name, and we're just going to return f. And then var I is going to be equal to player pref dot get int name, and we return I. Okay, so we've pretty much got it down. Now let me see here. What is something that would be needed to save for this episode at least? We don't actually need to save our armor stats because we can determine that after we load in our armor. Another thing that we don't really need to kind of set is actually, yeah, so we're gonna be needing to save all of these stats, all of these max stats, but we don't really have like a stat system going on yet, so I guess it's really not. Let's just say like pretty much the only thing that we really need to save now is our health, and maybe our player position. Actually, let's do player position. Yeah, why not? Okay. Actually, so we're gonna create a new thing here called position. And you're probably wondering, how are we going to, like, how coding in Unity are we going to be able to say player position, right? Because it's not, you know, it's a vector 3. It's not really, or it's a transform. You're not gonna be able to save it to floats. So what we're going to be doing is something very similar to what we're going to be doing with our inventory, and position. Variable type dot position, and we're just going to break so it doesn't break our code. Is what we're going to be doing is we're going to be saving kind of different instances of yeah, well, okay, I'll show you what we're gonna be doing. So first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to create a new value here, and we're just gonna call it transform. Now when we call in the function, if we're not trying to set a transform type variable save, this will be left out as null, so not a variable, nothing. And once we're here, so that it doesn't affect, you know, our code here, but excuse me, once we're here, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to say var x is going to be equal to transform dot position dot x, and var y is going to be equal to transform dot position dot y. Var z is going to be equal to transform dot position dot z, and then var rx is going to be equal to transform dot rotation dot x, and var ry is going to be equal to transform dot rotation. If you want to save rotation, you can do this. If you don't want to and just position, then you don't have to do the ry, rx, rz stuff. But I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this. So transform dot rotation dot z, and then we're just going to say player prefs Actually, for we're just gonna do a for loop, so I don't want to, because I don't want to type all the code. I equals 0, I is less than 6 when there's 6 variables. Yep. Then we're just going, actually, yeah, never mind, we kind of have to, because you'll see. But we're just gonna do player prefs dot stat float, and then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do name plus x, and this will create a unique identifier for our save path, and we're just gonna set it as x. We're just gonna duplicate this 6 times, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it will be x plus y set as y, and then it will be x plus z set as z, and then it will be x plus r, name plus rx set as rx, name plus ry set as ry, and then whoops, rz will be rz, just like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And when we grab the variable, we're just gonna have to say public void load string, actually public transform load transform, and we're not going to need a parameter here because there's only one transform that we can really grab, and we're just going to copy all of this, except actually we're going to take in a string for name, and you'll see why in a second. And we're just going to delete all of this because we don't need that, and we're just going to press get floats, and we're just going to paste get float in all of here because we're not setting anything. We're just going to paste name. Oh shoot, you do want to keep the plus x and plus y and everything, but we're just going to delete these. So right, so once you've deleted all of that, we're gonna create a public or var trans x is equal to new transform. Actually no, sorry. New vector 3 dot. How will we do this? Actually, let's create like a public or private transform variable, player transform load transform variable, and then we can just say here load transform dot position. Oh sorry, there's variable name conflicts here, so we can just say load transform var, and then we can just do this dot position dot is equal to, and we can just say here var x is equal to var y is equal to var z is equal to var rx is equal to var ry is equal to, and var rz is equal to. And we can just say here position is going to be equal to x, y, z. And we're having an error, right? We can just say here new vector 3 x, y, z. And then for rotation, I believe it's pretty much the same thing. We might need to use a quaternion, but we'll see. Rx, ry, rz. Yeah, so we do need to use a quaternion. And then the fourth value we can just set as 1. Okay, so yep, that's pretty much what we want, and we just want to return load transform var. And that's pretty much it for our position. So on player data, what we can say is on void start, we're gonna first make a reference to save system save. We're gonna say save dot load, or we're gonna create actually we're gonna create a new function inside of let's see, we'll say we'll create an if statement. We won't create a new function yet. We'll, depending on how much, like how many of these we're gonna have, we might create a new function, but we're just gonna say if player prefs dot has key, sorry, and we're gonna make the key name like position. Then we're going to save dot load transform. Else we're not going to do anything, and the name will just be position, and you can make this parameter name anything you want, so player position, whatever, because you might be saving like enemy positions as well. And then at the very end, so actually we don't have to put this at the end, but I like putting on, oh my god, we've written so many code, so much code. We can say here at the very end, we can say void on application just 1 second. So I'm just gonna write this at the top. Public void on application quits. So when the game closes, we're gonna do save dot load. Now you can also make the game kind of like save every like 5 seconds, but that's like really inefficient. So I like just making it on application quit. Now on application quit doesn't actually detect when your game crashes, so you're still gonna have to have like a save button, or like either a manual one or auto save function every like 10 minutes of gameplay, but it's up to you really. And we're just gonna save the name, which is gonna be position, and then we're gonna be the variable type, and will be variable type dot position, and then the variable will be null, because we don't have a variable because we're saving a position, and then transform will be transform, and that's pretty much it. So what we can do is we can go back into Unity and we can test this out. So we can create an empty, and then we can call this save system, and we'll drag your script. This will not work if your script is not in the scene, so remember this, drag it into the scene. And then what we can do is we can make save system, we can make player data automatically. So void on void start, we can just save is equal to find object of type save system, and then we can go back into Unity and then press play, and we can like run around. Let's say we want to like go this way, like let's save inside of a house. That would be pretty cool. Whoops, if I can just get in the house. Okay, guess I can't get in the house. I'm pretty sure we might have put like a box collider over it, not sure though. Okay, but if I exit play and I return, oh, my bad, my bad. I just realized there's something wrong. Okay, so save.load transform, but we're not setting anything as save.load transform position. So what we're gonna have to do is we're just gonna have to say transform is equal to save.load transform position. Oh, is it? It's read only. Let me see. So what we can do here is we can just kind of create like a temporary variable. So we can say var x is equal to this, and we can just say transform.position is equal to x.position transform dot rotation is equal to x dot rotation, and we're done here. So now if we go back into Unity, we should be getting our position save. So if we come over here and then we exit the game, okay, so we're not saving. Let's find out why. So on application quit, we should be saving, doing the save.save variable stuff. So we can just, if we could just print here on load or save variable, we can just print here. Let's just print like x, y, z, r, x, r, y, r, z. We can see if that matches up with our game. What's in the game? So we can just say, oh, sorry, not commas, plus, because you're interpolating strings. Okay, and then we can go back into Unity, press play. And then we can exit play. Okay, so -6, so we got -6.5, 7, or actually, how many variables were there? There should have been 6, so it should have been 1 would obviously be the full, so by process of or the height, the y position. So by process of elimination, it should be -6.5, 7, 1, 5, 2, and 2. I don't think that should make sense. Let's monitor our player's position actually. So right, player data is attached to the right thing. So if we look this way and we walk a bit, you can see our position does not match up with what's getting printed. I don't know why. Let's just only print x. Maybe we'll get a better result that way. So if we press play and then we rotate around, x should print -23.225, and it does. Okay, so we do know that it is getting the right value. Now when we get the value, when we load the transform, let's actually see if oh, my Unity crashed. Hey guys, so I'm back now after my Unity crashed. But if we go into the scene, our game should print what we had last time. So if we press play, but you can see here it's not being run at all actually. So I think the problem is, yeah, it's not being run. So let's see, save.load transform.position. Let's actually just make this, you know what? Let's make this a normal function. And so we're not going to be able to return anything. However, let's just see how it goes. So we're not going to be able to set it as a function because it's a function, which means we can delete these two. And let's just print what we have so far. And actually, I'm kind of dumb, but we could have just done this whole time. So we don't have to pass variables through the functions because we already have it inside of our load variable. So we can make this public, so we can access it from our player data script. We can say save.player, save.load transform var, semicolon. Cannot be assigned to, it is read only. Why is that? Let me find out. This usually shouldn't be. Let's create like a public transform. Player transform, and we can just set player transform to be equal to save.load var, load from var transform. And now if we go into our player, we can just drag it in as its own transform, and then we can just press play to test this out. So we can run around, exit, and then if we play again, it should save. Nope, it's not being run at all. Okay. So we're doing save.load transform position, but it is not save.load transform position. Let's print here the name of the function, or not the function, but the name of our what we're trying to pass to the function, and we can try to actually come here and we should try to print the saved variable to see if the variables are actually being saved. So if we press play here, and if we exit, you can see here position, right, and negative 19.49. Right, makes sense. However, when we press, okay, so the problem, we've pretty much narrowed it down. The problem is we're not able to load the transform, and that's a problem. So for some reason, this load transform function is not being run, because we obviously have a print statement here that is not being run. So we can try this. Maybe it's just that specific print statement, but I doubt it. It's most definitely something to do with how we're calling the function. So yeah, so it's not being called, and I think I know why. So let's create a new function. Let's call this load position, and we're gonna paste this code that we just deleted from our void start, and we're just gonna invoke load position after 0.25 seconds. Invoke. And what this will do is it'll create a delay so that we will load not at the very start, but at 0.25 seconds after start. And this should run our program, but it's not. And that's very strange. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so I was just being dumb. Yeah, there's because there's no player pref save path that is position. We always add something to it like x, y, z. So therefore, this if statement can never be fulfilled. So that's why we weren't running our load position. And that's my bad. Sorry for wasting your guys' time trying to debug, but just realized. So okay, so we're making progress now. So now we have a problem here. So load transform var of blah 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 has never been assigned. Has not been assigned. You probably need to assign this from the variable from the script inspector. Okay. You know what? Let's just start. Let's just make actually this whole time we could have what we could have done is we could just went in the save system, and so sorry guys, I'm being dumb today, but what we could do is we could just go in the save system and we can drag in our player as a transform, and we can just skip everything else. So now when we press play, you see we have loaded successfully into our last position. And now if I walk over here and I unload and I load again, I'm back at where I was when I left off. So if I let's see me like walk in this house and like look in the opposite direction, I'll load exactly here. So if we walk in this house, well, the rotation's a bit off, but that's okay. I think that might have something to do with the quaternion. But yeah, so I guess this episode's pretty much over. We have our save position. In the next episode, we'll save inventory, we'll save health, we'll save stats, save saturation, and everything that goes along with it. And save current quest number and dialogue number. That's also very important. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you next time, and have a good day. Bye.